Hey guys, Tom Stewart here, Smart Business Moves. I'm with Liz Trotter. Our guest today is Rochelle Wilkinson. Hello, Rochelle.
Hey there.
Hey, Rochelle.
Hey.
And Paul Free is going to be joining us too. We're just doing a little technical.
I've got really weird stuff up on my.
Remember, like broadcast TV, every once in a while it went wrong and they had something that came up on the screen, technical difficulties or something.
Yes, I do.
Wardrobe malfunction, maybe?
Oh, that was earlier.
You guys suck.
No?
Denise.
Come on, Liz. You know, doggone it. You and I talk before this thing goes on every doggone day, and whatever I tell you, I can count on you like sharing it with the world, right? So, hey, Paul.
Hello.
Yay.
I was efforting to get you that email, but I kept getting distracted.
No worries. You know, I was trying to. I was up on the roof deck. I was trying to hang out up there, but that ain't happening.
It was a pretty view, though. I got it, man. You were overlooking the skyline of Manhattan.
Yeah, it's nice up there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So,
But the reception's terrible.
yeah, I would have been distracted by the background. So I'm glad you came inside. I do love that lamp. Is that a lamp with a big, huge light bulb?
Here, wait. You see, I got this big idea. Hold on.
I love that. That's awesome.
All right.
I was distracted too, Paul, before you got here, but it had nothing to do with the skyline.
Oh my gosh. All right, just gonna say it then. I flashed everybody before you got on here, Paul, by mistake.
Hey, my life story. It's like a day late, $1 short.
The look of disappointment on his face is horrible. It's just, he's like, oh.
Trust me, nobody was missing much. I was trying to show my blouse. We're not going to do it again.
And the audience got more than it bargained for, huh?
Yeah. Good. All right, well, good to see you guys today. Linda, Danita, are you guys ready to hear about some unique information, different markets that people go into and how they go about working in those markets? I was excited to hear about it and talk about it. So, Tom, do we have any updates for today?
Do we want to talk about what we're doing next week and kind of get that out of the way?
Yeah, we probably should.
Just so we don't mess up. So let me see if I can share a screen here. Can you see that? Not very well, right?
I can see it because I know what it says, but
How about that?
yeah, that's good.
You want to explain what we're doing next week?
Sure. This is over the course of the next 3 weeks, y'all. So we are going to be giving everybody. So hey, Kelly. Hey, Robin. We are going to be giving everybody sort of like a very truncated view of some foundations classes that we do. Obviously, they're going to be small, but we're going to give you guys some information about what foundations looks like, and we want to make sure that everybody walks away with some good, actionable things to do. So for next week, we're going to be talking about some of the foundation processes. We're talking about the marketing calendar, what it is, why you need it, making sense of financial statements. I know I'll see Robin on for that day. On Wednesday is St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to have a Foundations Alumni Reunion. So we'll be expecting to see a bunch of you guys there. Bring your St. Patty's gear, bring your beads, and even if you didn't earn them, go ahead and bring them anyway. And
Liz has gotten a head start on us.
I already got my beads, yeah. And we're going to just talk a little bit about kind of where people are since COVID and how people have moved forward, and are really looking forward to hearing about the alumni, what they've done. And I don't know about you guys, but I get really inspired about hearing other people's success. they came from here and now they're here. It's like, oh, that's cool. And different things that they did to get there. So we'll be talking about that. And then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about, hot topic right now is getting people to work for you. So improving your recruitment to improve your retention, because it's tough enough to get people, but once you get them, we need to keep them, right? We need to keep the people. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. You guys can see the 2 weeks after that, profitability in week 2, and then client management in week 3.
So in week 3, which coincidentally happens to be National Cleaning Week.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a National Cleaning Week. I had no idea. So that's kind of cool. Nifty.
So we'll have to plan some ways to celebrate that as well.
I would imagine we'll have some freebies for National Cleaning Week. So we're changing up our agenda starting next week. Did you want to talk about that at all, Tom? The cadence of our daily meeting.
Let's save that for next week.
Okay, I'm in for that.
We're still refining some of the finer points.
Okay.
So Paul, Rochelle, welcome. Thanks for helping us here today. Paul, you've done this several times. Rochelle, have you ever been a guest of Smart Business Moves?
Nope, this is it. First time.
Would you like to take a minute or two and introduce yourself and tell us a little about you and your business?
So I own Dirt Detectives Cleaning here in Phoenix, Maryland. I have been doing this for 28 years. I took a short hiatus about 7 years ago, and I dissolved my business and did something else for a couple years. And then I was really just drawn back to restarting my business. And so I've been back at it for a couple years, and realizing things are a little bit different now. You got to have a website and things like that. You have to be a little bit more technical. So I'm working those kinks out, but the nuts and bolts of it are still the same as it's always been. Quality service, building relationships, being consistent. That never changes. Many things change, but those things don't. So I love it. I have 4 boys.
You have another company too, don't you, Rochelle?
So this is my husband's office. He has a landscaping company, which I help him with a lot. And then I also manage our family's apartment complexes. So I have about 300 tenants. So I'm kind of busy, but I devote most of my time to the cleaning business, and I love it, and that's where my passion is. So that's my main goal. I kind of have my finger in a lot of things. So, but I'm excited about foundations. I feel like, and I'm excited that you guys are doing the preemptive next week, because I was so looking forward to March. So it would have been over by now. And I'm like, if I just can get the foundation and figure this stuff out, because there's so many components to figure out. But it's good because Liz is walking me through the MMA group, and then I'll do a little bit of this. And I'm the type of person who I sometimes have to hear things a couple times for it to sink in. So this preemptive, then I'll be all ready for October. I will have charts down by October, Liz. I promise you.
Well, we're going to Vegas in June, so you're going to have a chance to kind of put some of this stuff together too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You said work and then party. I got it.
Working during the day. Tom, you've been with me in Vegas. I'm a big believer in work all day. What?
Play a little bit, and then get up and do it again.
I'm good for that.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
Yep.
All right. So you guys should be on the call. Paul, you need to be on to talk about foundations next week, and let us know, just the alumni. Let us know what you've done since then. I mean, we're not going to have a chance to really talk about that today because we got a cool topic. I love this topic today. I had never heard of it until I heard you guys talk about it. Both of you. You both mentioned it right around the same time.
That's funny.
I know, right?
Paul, tell us. We're talking about unique markets and And kind of the thing for the week is just kind of thinking out of the box a little bit, and this is unique to a lot of us. Passover cleaning. Could you explain a little bit about what that's about?
So I'm Jewish, was raised Jewish. We weren't incredibly observant, but let me back up. We were observant probably up till the time I was about 6 or 7 years old. My father was a Holocaust survivor. My mother wasn't. My father was born and raised as an ultra Orthodox Jew, black hat, like that was his life in Czechoslovakia. After the war, he was fortunate. He survived with a brother and two sisters. They reunited after they were liberated, and they came to the States, lived on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and then kind of moved on from there. My aunts and uncle went on to marry. They married Holocaust survivors. My dad married an American woman. My mom wasn't observant when they got married. She was really kind of just trying to satisfy his desires. 2 sets of dishes, right? You get to keep the meat, the dairy separate. We had 2 sets of silverware, things like that. We kept a kosher home, and of course, growing up, right, in suburbia, like I would smell the bacon coming from the neighbor's house, like on Sunday morning. I'm like, what is that heavenly scent, right? And of course, we couldn't have that. Now, and my mother was raised Jewish, but not observant by any means. And I remember, we had a dinner. We had a family dinner, and of course, right, you can't mix meat and dairy. Anyway, my mother prepared mashed potatoes, and of course, she loaded them up with butter and with cream, and served it with the brisket and everything else, right? Now, of course, my aunts and uncles and cousins, right, they had never put cream or butter in their mashed potatoes, right? Certainly not if they're having it with meat. They loved the mashed potatoes. They were like, these mashed potatoes are delicious. Estelle, what did you put in the mashed potatoes? And I just saw her face like, oh, right? Like, oh, nothing. But
I didn't even know about any of these things that you're talking about, Paul. I am woefully uneducated. So I had zero idea that was a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah, I had no idea.
So do I. That you can't mix the meat and the dairy because the milk of the child in the meat of the mother can't be together, right? Paul, what's the
There's every each sect of Judaism has a different philosophy.
Yeah.
Right? It's interesting because like just today. So my office. We moved our office to Union City. I think you guys knew that, but and Union City has a growing Hasidic community, right? And this is kind of like the spillover from Brooklyn. People that are just priced out of the Brooklyn market, and it's pretty interesting because Union City is a very Hispanic community. So you've got the Hispanics, now you've got the ultra Orthodox Jews. We get calls. We don't get calls to clean homes, but their synagogue. We've cleaned their synagogue. We've cleaned offices for them. If you're familiar with the mikvah, so the mikvah is it's a place. My comparison would be like baptism, right? You've got kind of the holy water, right? So. Women have to go to in the Orthodox community, women have to, after their menstrual cycle, they have to go to the mikvah to kind of get cleaned. And it's interesting because they've got this mikvah there. I don't even know how much money they spent, but you talk about like, it's like this high end, looks like kind of a spa, right? It's this big kind of pool, right? Yeah. And so we've been contracted to clean that. But family came by today looking for a donation for something, whatever it was. So hey, talked with them a little bit, and they saw this paper that I had that I sent you guys on, koshering the kitchen. So she looks at me, and of course, the ultra-Orthodox community would never accept me as a Jew, right? I mean, look at me, right? Like tattoos, shaved head, goatee, earring. So I remember a couple of years back, they have a small market in their community, and you'd walk by it a million times, you'd never know it was there. And it's just to serve their community, the kosher needs, and kind of the day-to-day stuff. But I was making chopped liver, and to really do it right, you need rendered chicken fat, right? What they refer to in Yiddish as schmaltz, right? So I said, maybe I'll go to the market in Union City and see if they have schmaltz. Anyway, I walked in there on a Sunday, shorts, flip-flops, tank top, right? All inked up. When I walked in, everybody stopped dead in their tracks and looked at me like, this is the end. This guy's here to blow the place up. And the poor lady behind the counter, she says, can I help you? I said, do you carry schmaltz? And of course she looks at me and she goes, what do you know from schmaltz? I said, I'm making chopped liver. And she said, no, we don't carry it. But I hung around, picked up a couple things, and I left. But it's an interesting dynamic. And when you look at the ultra Orthodox, and if anybody was really interested in learning anything about this, there's a movie on Netflix called Unorthodox, and it's the story about a woman who breaks away from that community. It's very, very interesting, and it's very right on. I mean, it's a spot on flick, true story. So, and again, right, like they would not consider me one of them for sure. I have a relationship with an ultra-Orthodox rabbi, and he's a young guy. He's got about 9 kids. And I remember going to his house for dinner, and his oldest daughter just sat and stared at me the whole night. And finally I looked at her and I said, like, what's up? And she said, my daddy said only women wear earrings.
Yeah. So in the I guess topic of the cleaning aspect of this.
So when you talk about, like, if we talked about koshering for Passover, so and there's a lot of,
explain that term, Paul. Is that the term for the type of cleaning that we're talking about?
Yes. And I sent you over some bullet points, right, on kind of what they do.
Do you have those, Liz?
Yeah, he sent them to me. I'll send them over to you, Tom, so you can post them.
Koshering. Can you spell that?
It's Kashering.
Do you have a Rochelle? Do you have some type of a flyer as well that talks about the koshering or how you clean? Or
so what I usually do is I go in and I do all the preemptive work. So as Paul can tell you, I do all the preemptive stuff. There's 2 layers. So I do the before stuff, and then I think Paul's doing like the after stuff, right, Paul? So I'm doing the pomace removal. So because Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but Passover is a celebration of the liberation of the children of Israel. They were led out of Egypt by Moses, and they left so fast that they didn't have time to let the bread rise. So the bread was unleavened. So the whole point of Passover cleaning is to get rid of any unleavened products out of your home. And that can be Cheerios. There's, so unleavened is like flour. There's flour in women's makeup, baby powder. They'll box all those things up and get rid of them and donate them. Or there's actually a lady in some neighborhoods who will mark the box with your name, and you can give it to her, and she'll hold on to it until the holiday's over, and then she'll bring it back to your home and give you your stuff. Like if you have nice makeup or something you don't want to get rid of, but usually if you're cleaning, they'll give you like a box of pasta and some crackers and some bread and be like, take this with you. We can't have it here. So then what I'm doing is I'm doing like comets removal, which is anything that would leave a crumb. So we tear the furniture apart. We pull the couch apart. We vacuum every nook and cranny. You wipe downstairs in the dining room really well.
You know, there's like maintenance cleaning, there's restorative cleaning, deep
This
cleaning.
is more up
If
here.
you're talking about something yet at a higher.
So it's like spring cleaning, but you have to be mindful and you cannot skimp. Like they're paying you and they're giving you like they'll just give me a list of things to do. All the light fixtures, all of the dining room chairs, all of the lids on the dining room, all of the shelves in the bathroom cabinet. So to prepare and honor their Passover and their holiday, they have to remove all the chametz. Anything that you own, have possession of, or lease has got to be cleaned.
Rochelle, all of the what?
Chametz.
Spell
Right,
that
Bob?
for me. Spell that for me.
What
It
are
is
comments?
CHAMETZ. It is bread, any kind of unleavened bread. It's crumbs. Chametz is a Cheerio. A Cheerio is chametz. So,
Living food. Okay.
Yeah, like any wheat, barley, rye, anything along those lines.
but it's in so many things. Like
So
I said, like
If
makeup.
you're going to market this, I guess you have to be in the right market, you know, to have the right demographic that there would be a demand
Sure.
for it. And you know, you got to do your homework. I mean, there's a lot of things you would need to know, right?
Right. So basically, like I said, what we do is we go in and we wipe all the surfaces and then we chuck it off the list. And then they know, like, okay, Rochelle said it's done. So they can take it off of their list. Even people that we clean for year round who keep kosher, even though I know that we do those door frames all the time, she's going to put it on the list for Passover because she just needs to cross it off. She has to know that it was done to prepare for the holiday. And so, like I said, anything that you own, lease, or have possession of has got to be chametz free. So if you have an office and you have lunch there and you've had crackers there, you have to clean your office. If you own a house at the beach and you know that when you were there this summer, you bought Cheerios for the grandkids, if you can't get to the beach and clean your beach house, you need to find somebody that you know and sign your beach house over to them for $1, and then you can buy it back when the holiday's over. And I'm only saying that to you. It's true, right, Paul?
Yes.
So I'm only saying that because this is how important it is to people to totally remove all of the chametz from the house. So it is light fixtures, door frames, baseboards, cabinets, inside cabinets. And if they can't get to a cabinet or a room, they will tape it off. Like if I just can't get to this, they'll tape it off and nobody can go in that room for the holiday. And they will have, like Paul said, you have different sets of dishes. They also they'll box up their toaster oven and they'll put their toaster in a room and block it off. And then they have a toaster just for Passover. So they have a toaster they use every year that doesn't have, breadcrumbs in it, unleavened bread, or that they can use.
So what's the difference between koshering and removing the chametz?
That's Paul.
Well, it's all part of the same process.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and there are some more affluent Jews that will have a separate kitchen just for Passover.
Yeah.
And they only use it that week, so they don't go through this process. So for me, what I do is I don't. The ultra Orthodox are not going to allow us to come in and do it. They do it themselves, and they don't trust. They want to make sure that they get every crumb out of every nook and cranny, and they'll spend weeks doing it. So they're not going to trust some servers to come in and do it. what I do is I market to the less observant Jews, the Reformed Jewish community, the conservative Jewish community, because they do this more as a ritual, and they're not as stringent. They're not going to come and inspect and make sure you got every car. It's like they know they got somebody to come in, they're satisfied, they've performed this ritual of koshering their house or their kitchen for Passover, and they're happy. But more importantly, what I do is I like to get brochures like this or a little flyer like this out into the community's bulletin, right? So they put this out on their website. This is just a great way to advertise. It's free advertising. Nobody's going to charge you to take this and put it in their bulletin or put it out on their website, and they get it out to everybody in their community. So I get more kind of routine cleaning jobs out of this than I do Passover cleaning jobs out of this.
Yeah, so that is really what I found interesting when I was talking to each of you. You both have a sort of a different agenda and objective for doing these. Rochelle, you're all about, bring them on. It's a lot of work. I am going to be bringing in the cash during this time beforehand. Yep. And Paul, you're more about, bring it on. I'm bringing in the leads. It's a marketing strategy to build trust and awareness of your company in this, what do I want to say?
Unique market. Niche.
Yeah, you're using this as an opportunity to get recurring clients. We've got several comments here and questions, and I'm going to do these a little bit out of order just to kind of fit what we're talking about here. Robin wants to know what % of your business is Passover cleaning during this period. Rochelle, do you do a lot of these?
So we're booked out. We started this week, and we're booked out from now until the Wednesday before Passover. So we're booked out now every day from now and for the next 2.5 weeks. And so I have girls who work solo and they're doing their regular jobs, but I have other girls that I'm pulling in for resources, and we're working together in teams of either 2 or 3, and we're doing about 3 a day, and they're about $800 to $1,200 a piece.
So
I'm tired, but
does this work need to be completed before Passover, or
yes, like 3 days before Passover.
Okay.
So I'll do the cleaning and the removing and the vacuuming, and I'll say that I've touched all the spots, and then more on like what Paul is saying, because they will have a separate set of dishes. They'll do something which they call turning their kitchen over, which is where they put away all of the rest of the year stuff and they bring out their Passover dishes and their Passover appliances. If you have granite counters, we'll do koshering, which is after we've cleaned them, they'll actually take boiling hot water, like a tea kettle of hot water, and they put towels around the bottom of the cabinet, and they'll literally pour hot water on the granite counters, and then it, like, correct me, Paul, but it like kills any chametz that might be lingering, and then that koshers it. Sometimes they'll bring in a rabbi. A rabbi will come with a blowtorch, and he will blow towards granite countertops. If you don't have granite and you have like, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. If you don't have granite and you have like plastic counters or whatever, they'll actually, there's businesses who cut and customize like corrugated plastic to fit your counters. Or they'll just sell you sheets of plastic, and you then put that on top of your counter because it's new and it's fresh and it's never touched anything unkosher. And then you use that for your counters. You basically, you put a layer of corrugated plastic on top, and they tape it down, and that's what they use for, 8 days?
Yeah.
If you can't blowtorch it.
No.
But when
That
you
would
say,
be, that would potentially, if you had the ability to do that, that would be an upsell opportunity, right?
there are people who, once we've cleaned the refrigerator, they'll say, will you please, and then they'll hand you a box of aluminum foil. They'll say, will you please cover all the shelves in foil? And you're like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's $45 an hour. It's whatever we're doing. So they have to do these things, and they the Hasidic Jewish people usually have, you know, a house full of kids and they run out of time and there's a lot of cooking involved. So anything they can field out to you to do, they're more than willing to pay at this point.
So what percentage of, and still trying to get a feel for how big an impact from a, you know, revenue standpoint for this period of time does Passover, I mean, is this a...
If you're like me and you're only working with 3 crews, you can, in a 2.5 week time span, you can generate an extra $25,000 worth of income.
Wow. Okay, cool.
But it's very hard because it's very short lived. And I pull people that work for me at the apartments. I'm like, hey, during these 2 weeks, I know you usually paint, but I'm going to need you to come with me and clean. I just pull my resources. Or if I'm onboarding somebody new, I'll be like, this is what we're going to do for the first 2 weeks of your training. I promise it'll get easier.
And you're doing this on top of your
Regular
normal recurring work. This is
totally separate.
Different, but in some regards akin to people who clean college dorms and stuff, that for like a 1 week period, they're working 24 hours a day, helping, doing their normal stuff, and then trying to get kids moved out of dorms.
And I don't know whether or not to say that I'm very lax with advertising. So it's like, and this is what I advertise in. It's a little magazine. It's called The Advertiser. And the nice thing about this is because the Hasidic Jewish people observe Sabbath from Friday at sundown to Saturday at sundown. This goes out on Thursday to the delis and to people's mailboxes. So all they do for Saturday when they can't use the TV or electricity is they look through this thing and then they find, you know, this was my ad that I did. They find your ad and then they call you on Sunday, which I totally take phone calls on Sunday because I know that's when they can use the phone again. But, you know, so the way that you can find these communities obviously is to look for Orthodox synagogues. Just Google Orthodox synagogues and you're going to find the areas that they're in. There's large communities in Baltimore, New York, New Jersey, Texas. Where else, Paul?
Listen, all over, right?
Yeah.
California, LA, I mean, anywhere. And you know, it's interesting because we're both, and I think it's really based on your marketplace, right? The demographic. Right. Where I am, it's the ultra-Orthodox, right? The Hasidic Jewish community, or it's the younger professionals in the Reform communities. And the ultra-Orthodox, they're not going to trust a service like us, like any of us, to come in and do this for them. They're going to want to make sure that it's done, every speck, every crumb is gone.
Right.
And
the
observant, you know, the more observant conservative synagogues or conservative communities would definitely.
Right. I do have some super strict Hasidic Jewish families that hire us. There are rules to that too. Paul, you know, like as a woman, when you go in, you're instinctively, you want to say hello. When you want to shake somebody's hand, do not reach out to shake their hand. They do not want to touch your hand. They're not allowed to touch your hand. The men aren't, right? So there's just certain rules. Obviously, don't take your purse in because in case you've had crackers in your purse last week, you don't want to take any. So we wear fanny packs and it just only has our keys and our phone in it for that reason when we do our kosher homes. So you can't even take your purse in if you've had any kind of food item in it at any time in your lifetime. I did notice that when I advertised in the Advertiser years ago, and I started to be accepted into the community. I'm obviously American Indian, Italian. I'm not Jewish, and they're very conservative. I'm very outspoken. I'm very blunt. I had to learn to reel that in a little bit, which is hard for me. We usually wear V-neck shirts. We had to totally change our t-shirts to scoop these round necks because nothing that would show any skin here, that's a no-no. You don't want to do that. So we changed our uniforms for the Orthodox community. We just had to change the way we did some things. But there was such a need. Like when I started advertising, my phone rang off the hook. I couldn't keep up with it. And when I started going into these homes, they were just like, you know, nobody advertises around here. And we started picking up a ton of clientele. I probably had 3 teams that did nothing but work in that area. And we started noticing that, like, everybody would say, do our bedrooms, do our bathrooms, but don't touch our kitchen. So finally, like 15 years ago, I finally said to a girl, why won't anybody let us clean their kitchens? And they said, well, we keep kosher and nobody listens to the rules. So this is a meat counter, this is a dairy counter. You can't mix the two. Nobody listens. So we just say, skip the kitchen. And so I said, well, I'll buy you your own supplies. I'll buy you a bucket for the meat and sponge and a bucket for the dairy, and I'll keep it here. It's yours. You can keep it. And it was maybe $12 worth of supplies. And when we started doing that for people, and they would see that I washed this counter with this rag, and then when I was done with it, it went in the bag, and then I got a new rag for the other counter, and I always used the bucket from under the meat counter for the meat counter. Once they were like, oh my gosh, these people actually listen. They don't do what they want when we're not looking.
You know,
busy.
It's a common practice where, you know, some companies will use one color cloth for bathrooms, sure, one color cloth for kitchens. So maybe you could use different colors. And
already, I got my red for my meat. I got my yellow for my dairy. I'm in.
And you know they do that. They do that. They have different color sponges in their sinks. A blue Scotch Brite and a pink Scotch Brite. And they'll write with a black magic marker when it comes to like certain utensils, and they'll write on the utensil meat, dairy. But if you want to take the time and be mindful and listen to people and actually take the steps, if you are near a kosher community, you can dominate that market if you just take the time and you train your girls. They were just so tired of people not listening. So they would do things like they would have paper towels, and they would say, just use the paper towels, because they figured you use the paper towel, you throw it away, instead of like listening and only using this rag here and this rag here. I'm going to show you one other place to, if you can look at this. Let me see.
What you got there, Rochelle?
So that is it's called an Eruv map. It's an ERUV. And in the Hasidic communities, it's actually like a fishing line, but it goes around the utility poles of a community. And if you Google Eruv map near me, so this right here, if you were looking for clients, that's your market right there. This is where they live. It literally will show you, an Eruv map will show you where Hasidic Jewish people are living.
Well, I just did a search, and it looks like I have an Orthodox synagogue right here in my city.
Get on it, Liz.
I had no idea. I was like, what? I mean, I don't have Chick-fil-A, but I have an Orthodox.
You're just letting those dollar bills slip through your hands. What are you doing? Get up, go.
I'm failing. That's all I'm doing right there. All right, I'm checking out Eruv map now.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a way to find them. But listen, you just have to listen, and you have to, it just takes listening. It's like, she said, nobody's ever wanted to really ask us why and take the time. And literally $12 worth of buckets and sponges. And people are like, well, here, she'll listen to what you're saying. They won't break the rules. I have husbands who say to us, you guys are the only people my wife will let touch her kitchen, because, you know, we pay attention.
Well, when I'm looking at the list, like, can you put Paul's list up there again?
Yeah.
When you have a chance? Yeah, when you look at this list of the things, it is really intense. I feel like it would be easy to forget some of these things. No?
So a lot of those things about the waiting 24 hours and stuff like that, that's stuff that they do after we've cleaned. So if you think that there's 3 of us in a house touching every area, I mean, we just saved them 20 man hours. They can do this little bit of koshering themselves.
Yeah.
It's the stuff before it that they don't have 3 days to do what we do.
Paul,
So then we do that, and then they can do this.
how do you use this document, Paul?
So, you know, what I do with this, I email it out to the synagogues to post in their bulletins and to put up on their websites. And it's really just marketing for me.
So this is kind of almost a how-to do-it-yourself type guide.
Public service announcement, yeah.
And really, I thought what was unique about what Paul does is he's not expecting to do any of this koshering. He's just expecting to build credibility and build loyalty and trust in the community, because
Right.
it's a large community.
Do you have people trained to do this, Paul?
So I'll go in. We don't do a lot of it, right? Like we do one rabbi's house we do every year, and we do a couple of kitchens. You know, and then of course we're doing the entire house while we're there. But for those cleanings, I'll go over it with the team. Sometimes I'll even go with them. But look, if Rochelle's numbers are right and there's $25,000 we made in a couple of week period, I may start looking into more of it. So
Yeah.
But for me, it's really more about getting the recurring cleanings and marketing to these communities.
I mean, it seems to me that you would need to have a pretty rigorous training program, and to make sure. I mean, Rochelle, it seems like she's there, and if you're there, Paul, I guess that's a big safety blanket. But I mean, this means a tremendous amount to people. You can't. You know, the stakes are high. You know, you got to obviously you have to respect what's going on here and get it right. So
You can't mess up. That's
I would be on pins and needles. I would just be afraid I'd mess
It's
up.
very elementary. It's very honestly, we buy like the $2.47 a piece paint buckets with the handles from Home Depot. We use those all the time anyway because they fit nicely in a sink for rinsing. But we just buy a bunch of those, and I buy the Scotch Brite in bulk. And so when we go into a house, we literally are just walking in with new buckets, new sponges, and it's, you know, like I said, it's like $15 worth of product, but we're charging them $800 to $1,200, and I'm like, I can afford to buy these new buckets for you if it makes you happy. So it's just really the buckets. And one of the little things that I've learned over the year when it comes to, like, you got to clean the fridge. So one of the things I've learned is I take those big plastic storage containers with me, you know, the ones that you like store your Christmas decorations in. And because the stovetop, like the grates and the parts for the fridge, you have your meat and your dairy sinks. They usually have 2 sinks in the kitchen. They'll usually ask you to, like, can you put this in the bathroom and wash it, or can you take this to the sink in the basement and wash it? And that wastes a lot of time, like running up and down the stairs and carrying all the parts to the bathroom. So what I found works fast is just to get a huge plastic storage container from Walmart for like $12, and just take buckets of hot water and fill it right there in the kitchen. Put your Dawn dish liquid in it, pull out your refrigerator pieces, and let it soak in the storage container, so you're not running to the bathroom or downstairs with all the pieces and then bringing it all back. There's just ways to do it easier and faster. It's taken me a couple years to figure it out, but new buckets, new sponges, a storage container. Don't take your lunch in. They'll have a list for you. It's very easy. It's not rocket science. You know, just how to find the people, like the Arab, and, you know, finding these little magazines in the deli. I was in a Jewish deli one day getting lunch, and I saw this magazine. I picked it up and I said, I'm going to advertise in it, because it hits those people in that area. So it's not rocket science.
Do you advertise in it all year long? Or
I don't, but I should, because I'll be honest with you, I'm ashamed to say this. I am the only cleaning company in this magazine. And I get lazy and I don't advertise in it, but when I do, my phone rings off the hook. And this one whole page ad was $285. Hello, if I said give me $285, I'll give you 25 grand back. Would you give me $285? You would.
That's
So
speaking Paul's language. That's
every minute of the day.
it's one of those things when I do it, I'm like, why am I not doing this all the time?
Denise asking the question, does anybody ask for eco-friendly products?
So some of the I don't have a product thing here with me, but like, okay, here's Chick-fil-A. Usually on like, say this is a thing of Lysol and it's like antibacterial kitchen cleaner, there'll be a circle with a U in it. And that means that it's okay to be used in a kosher kitchen.
Paul sent it to me. I'm going to pull it up right now. What's it
Right,
called?
Paul?
What's it called, Paul?
It's called a Hechsher.
Yeah.
Sure. he sent me one. I'll send it over to you, Tom.
Okay.
But as far as eco-friendly products, most of the stuff that we use to clean with, got to give a shout out to Dawn Platinum. Woo, I love it. And it can be used in kosher kitchens, and you have to be careful about what you use. I do like something called Quick and Bright. It's like a degreaser and it's like a whitener and a brightener, but it's made with coconut. So I actually cannot use that in my kosher kitchens, but I use it everywhere else. So there's some things that, I can make a list for you of things you can use and that you can't use.
Just for this particular type of cleaning, you can't use it in the kitchen, but you can use it in the bathroom. Or
so with regard to these Hechshers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets a little tricky and it gets a little complicated because there are certain sects of Jews that don't recognize certain Hechshers. So you have to get that information really from your customer and what they're comfortable with. And just to give you an example, like here are the different types or the different different varieties. Let me see if I can if you can see this.
Yeah.
Oops.
If you go to let me see.
Oh wow. A little bit closer. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow. There's a lot of them.
Right. So, there's look, the conservative Jews may recognize one, the ultra Orthodox will recognize, less. It's so and you'll see these Hechshers on different cleaning products. But again, there's a variety of them.
The Circle U is the most common.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I'll share this link. I'm assuming this link here is an example, but you would have to. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know where to begin with this.
So, but they know. It sounds like Tom.
The client would tell you.
Right. They would tell you which Hechshers they.
They'll recognize. Yeah.
Okay.
What they think are legitimate and which ones aren't.
Right.
So that makes sense. I'm feeling like that kosher LA. That doesn't look legit to me with that pine tree and that cake. I ain't buying that.
That's a little too relaxed for all these rules that we got.
I know.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't buy that one.
Here's one for Florida.
So another thing to note when it comes to making money is this is like their new year. This is like Christmas on steroids. So, like I said, anything that they own or lease. So today I was at a client's house, and as I drove away, I saw it already. They're hiring people to come to their house in their driveway and start to clean out their cars. Their car has to be free of all crumbs.
Oh my
So so car detailing, and then before it's all said and done, carpet cleaning. So if you have a company that offers carpet cleaning, this is a great time of year. If you know anybody that does car detailing and is looking for extra work, car detailers are super busy right now. But you just have to know.
They really have to save money throughout the year because they are going to be putting out a ton of cash. and or time to be able to get all of these things as
Right.
clean as they need to be, or as kosher as they need to be. Okay, I have one more question real quick. So, because I keep getting lost on this. So, do they only worry about keeping the kitchen kosher? I mean, I hear about they have to get rid of all of the chametz.
After Passover and after the unchametz-free celebration, they can have unchametz or Cheerios again. You just can't have it during that 8-day period. Now if they keep kosher, they keep kosher all year long. They're not going to have a meat lasagna with cheese ever. They're not ever going to have a cheeseburger. I don't bring my purse in with unkosher stuff in my purse, but it's only during the 8 days that the chametz is the problem. So they can have Cheerios today, but on the 25th, when Passover starts, you're not having Cheerios.
You keep mentioning Cheerios. What's the big deal about Cheerios?
Everybody uses the reference of Cheerios because so many have kids. You know how you give kids just bowls of Cheerios? So it's just an example.
Okay.
Cheerios, crackers, bread,
I'm never buying Cheerios again. All I hear is how bad they are.
I know, and I do think if it becomes such. Okay, so here's the crazy thing. So, and you said about spending money. We have people who we clean for their parents all year long, and the parents spend the money all year long, but they can't afford it all year long. We have people who they will say, my mom is gifting me cleaning for Passover. I have a $500 budget. What can you do for me? So people will gift other people. My mom is to help me. She's gifted me this. So the crazy thing is they go through all this trouble to get rid of the chametz. But the first night of Passover, they take one tiny little crumb and they hide it somewhere in the house. And the special thing is the first night of Passover is the kids have to go find this tiny little Cheerio, or not really a Cheerio, but a little tiny piece of cracker or whatever. So you remove it all, and then somebody like a grandfather or somebody will hide it. And that's the big thing, is to find this. It's usually taped under a table. I'm just going to tell you right now. It's usually taped under a table. Shh, don't tell the kids. Right, Paul?
We're pushing towards the top of the hour. This is really,
super intriguing.
It's a niche market, and if you're willing to do the homework and you're willing to abide by the rules, you can literally, if you have these neighborhoods in your area, you can dominate these areas. And we dominated them for years. And it was great money.
And if you're transparent, I'm thinking about, my business. And, if I was doing this, I'd have to be completely transparent. It's like, I'm delighted to take the opportunity to help. And, if you can kind of hold our hand through this, we just want to get it right for you. I guess you wouldn't want to overpromise if you didn't really have a lot of firsthand experience.
Good point of contact is the rabbi, right? If you reached out to the rabbi and offered this service to the community, he would introduce you to the community, and he basically gives you the blueprint, right? Here's what you need to be doing. And if the rabbi endorses the cleaning specifications, you're good to go.
Okay. Well, one thing I did hear, Tom, that I thought made it sound a lot more doable is Rochelle was talking about during this time, she'll just grab whoever to come help. So she's like, oh, you're painting? Yeah, you're not painting this week. You're going to be cleaning. So how hard can it really be if she's grabbing her painters or whoever? So the cleaning can't be that intense.
Okay, so Passover cleaning is, here's my list of places you need to touch and wipe to get rid of all the chametz. And it's just a list. And mentally, the women need to know that this list and all these things on this list were touched, and they're willing to pay somebody else to touch them. When it comes to weekly kosher cleaning, like cleaning a kosher house, that's when we get more into okay, you need to understand that this is my meat counter and this is my dairy counter, and the two should never intermingle. And usually the stovetop is Switzerland. So we have meat and dairy in Switzerland. And so if you wanted to get into kosher cleaning, I could probably explain it to you in 20 minutes and just say, this is what you have to do. These are the steps you have to take. It's a very niche market. But so many people like you. How long have you guys been in the cleaning business and you just have never heard of this?
Yeah.
If I had not mailed postcards 15 years ago to this neighborhood unsuspectingly, I didn't know what I was mailing to. I was just like, there's some nice houses over there. I think these people would want me to come clean. I'll pick the zip code. But then we started going in and everybody's like, don't touch my kitchen. Don't touch my kitchen. I'm like, do you mind telling me why nobody wants me to clean their kitchen? And the girl just finally looked at me and she was like, oh, sweetie, you don't know, do you? And I'm like, I don't know. Tell me. So unless you don't, if you don't know, you don't know.
But it's very interesting. It sounds like over the course of those 15 years, Rochelle, that you have really learned a lot about how to keep kosher.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and a lot of the meaning behind it. I like, while we don't have time to hear about all of that, it's intriguing to me that there are stories around why the meat and the dairy can't ever touch, right? And that these beliefs are so strong that it sounds like there isn't a lot of option. If you can't afford to have somebody else do it, you're doing it unless you don't keep kosher at all. Right, is what I'm hearing, and that's not that common. Like, it sounds like even the non
acidic,
the non-acidics are still wanting to clean for Passover. They still feel that they need to.
I say it this way: when people say to me, like, "Why are we doing all this stuff? Like, what are we doing?" And I'll say to them, "Look. We cut down trees outside and drag them inside and throw lights on them for 30 days. Don't question what they do. They don't question us. Don't question them." Right?
Well, if anybody would like a copy of your instructions here, would it be okay if we shared it?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
I would love your list too, Rochelle, if you're sharing that, of different things that have to be touched to be able to get rid of the comments.
Just hit Liz up, drop her email, and she'll get it to you.
It's awesome. Thank you, guys. It's super.
This was cool. I mean,
brand new. I have never heard this topic anywhere in our industry ever before.
You get to the point where you think that you know just about all there is to know, and this is.
Yeah, brand new.
Maybe I'll make a training program on it and just give
seriously
people in the cleaning business.
Why not?
Just the Liz Trotter, Tom Stewart people get it.
Go ahead.
It's going to be our own little thing.
I was thinking, there ought to be some type of program that would walk people, technicians on how to do this properly.
Yeah.
Especially, you said you could actually train them in 20 minutes. That's awesome.
And look, if there's people that are immersed in a predominantly Jewish area, right? Just dedicate a couple of teams and train them, and off they go.
Yeah, I feel like that's awesome, especially for the 25 grand. I'm in.
And maybe once we do that, then we could figure out which one of these agencies would endorse the training program.
It sounds like that you with the circle.
I mean, would that be something that they would do? I mean, could
probably get in touch with a rabbi locally, and then he could talk to people in New York.
Paul, I think this is in your wheelhouse, man. Why don't you?
I'll have answers next time we talk.
Awesome.
Hey guys, we're at the top of the hour. We're a little past. Rochelle, it was a pleasure having you here. First time guest. Paul, as always, you always bring it, man. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you so much, you guys, for bringing brand new, unique material to us.
I want to hear that somebody, there's a girl named Nina Maid who said she found some people in her area, and I sent her some information. I want to hear that somebody out there somewhere had put their foot in the pond a little bit and dabbled in it, and I want to hear that somebody is out there getting something done. It might be too late to advertise, but you can always take flyers and hand deliver them, put them in delis or
Go to the synagogue.
things.
Not like you can't walk it over to the synagogue right now.
Yeah,
Right.
listen, they look, they can email blast their entire community.
I can tell you that I had a lady that called me from DC, and she's like, my friend lives in your area and everybody I know is booked out. Will you come to DC? And I said, if you buy the whole day, we'll come to DC. And she bought the whole day. So I'm going to pay the girls extra travel time. But again, it's $1,200. What do I care? I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
people are getting desperate at this point.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Robin. Tom's going to have some. Tom, you're going to have information in the resources. Is that right?
You're gonna just hit.
I'm going to email it to me.
Yeah, Liz will get it to you.
Okay, I'll get it to you. Okay, you guys. Thanks so much.
Monday the 15th. Derek's going to be here. We're going to be talking about marketing calendars and why we need them.
Yeah.
You guys have an awesome weekend. Rochelle, Paul, again, thank you both.
Thank
Okay?
you.
We'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Weekend.
Bye.
Bye.